So our 2003 Rav4, as soon as the weather turned cold, it kind of started, it would turn over, but it wouldn't start right away, but it did start for a little bit, and then since then, it will turn over, but it isn't starting. Confirmed the battery's good, no check engine lights or anything like that. So my next thing to look at is the spark plugs. We've put about 100,000 miles on the car, and to the best of my knowledge, they have never been changed. I lost my battery and I'm being lazy. So spark plugs have never been changed. I replaced the spark plugs. Took me about an hour and I was trying to video it, so it could have gone a lot sooner. Never done spark plugs before on a car. Pretty straightforward. You have to remove the airbox, which I'll show a little bit, and then put the new spark plugs in. Engine turned over, started up, running out there in the driveway right now. So if you run into a similar issue, it's a pretty easy fix. If you're at all comfortable working on the car, I recommend you just replace the spark plugs. It was like 20 bucks for all 4 of them, and the car's running again. All right, I have a little bit of light. The car's outside because the Blazer's parked in the shop and it's not running. So I got this Husky LED light and I got a headlamp. We got to remove this airbox. There's a couple bolts holding it on. Got to disconnect the hoses into there. I think this is the airflow sensor. It's got to be disconnected, and then we'll be able to get to the spark plugs. I want to call out one more thing. So there's this hose on the back side that you got to loosen this and pull out. This pin, this cable comes from there. There's also this, I think it's a vacuum hose that needs to come off from the airbox, so you can pull the whole airbox off at once. All right, after pulling the airbox off, there's this bracket that needs to come off. Just got a couple screws here that needs to come out. I'm seeing some oil here, hoping that I don't need to replace the gasket on the valve cover, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm gonna pause right here. I am trying to rush tonight, and I don't know that I probably would be fine without doing it, but whenever you're working on the engine, it's always a good idea to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery, and I have not. So I'm gonna stop right here before I pull the ignition coils and spark plugs and disconnect the negative side of the battery. So good news, I pulled the first couple and there's not oil in there, so that's a good sign. You don't have to disconnect this cable. You can just pop these out. Well, as I say that, maybe this last one is going to be too short, but nope, got them out. So I got these all open here. I'll probably vacuum that up here, and then we can get in there to our spark plugs. Woo! I have to get the other spark plugs out, but I'm replacing them with these Denso IRIDIUM spark plugs. Here, it is a 5/8 socket to get them out. This is a spark plug socket specific, so it has a little rubber thing there in the end. You can see that is to grab the end of the spark plug here and hold on to it, so you can after you unscrew it, you'll be able to lift it out of the hole in here. So I came where I have a little better light, but on the right here is the old spark plug. On the left is the new, looking nice and shiny and clean. So we're gonna get these installed. The big concern when putting the new spark plugs in is cross-threading them because they're down deep in these holes. So what I'm gonna do is use my spark plug socket, put the new spark plug in here, and without the wrench attached to it, I'm just going to hand tighten them, get them threaded in. There is also some tutorials about using a piece of hose around the spark plug to get it in there and thread it so you're not not cross-threading it, but I'm hopefully not feeling overconfident, but feeling confident that I can get these threaded by hand, and then I'll tighten them down once I get them in. Alright, got all 4 of them hand tightened down in there. I am between torque wrenches right now. It's on my Christmas list, but they're not supposed to be very tight. Just about, I think it said 12.5 foot-pounds. So I'm just getting them a little snug here. I usually like to torque stuff up if I can, but I think this should work. If I continue to have problems, I will know that is a possible culprit. But so the little rubber piece on the end of my spark plug socket stuck after all those times, so I'm gonna go get some hemostats to pull that. I hope that these reach. Got it. Plug these back down. I'm going to put all the screws and bolts back in, put the airbox back on, and then we'll see if it starts. It started a little rough. I'm gonna give it a minute here. After letting it run for a little bit, we drove it. It's running good as new. Problem fixed.